we all know 7 Days to Die has those overpowered perks like Sexual Tyrannosaurus and Better Barter. And we all know 7 Days to Die has those worthless perks including Pack Mule and Infiltrator. But what about those perks that aren't used as much but are secretly game changing? Well, as the title and thumbnail show, this video is going to go over some of the most underappreciated perks in 7 Days to Die Alpha 19. If one of the perks on this list has changed drastically in Alpha 20, I'll update the pinned comment, but with that out of the way, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video and I know you'll enjoy the way you hit that like button, and let's get into my 7 most underrated perks in 7 Days to Die, in no particular order. Springboarding onto this list at number 7 is Parkour. Parkour maxes out at Agility 8. Rank 4 allows you to jump an extra 2 meters, enabling you to clear a 3 block height. It also completely removes broken and sprained legs from fall damage. Parkour also reduces the stamina usage when jumping by 40% and increases the range you can safely fall by 5 meters. If you've never used Parkour, you're missing out. That extra jump height can save you on higher zombie speeds, allowing you to secure the high ground or escape. The extra jump height also makes creative horde bases where you need to jump higher to reach certain powerful positions possible. Also, jumping off of roofs and not breaking your leg is a solid quality of life feature. Now, I said earlier that this list is not in any particular order, and that is true. However, Parkour does only just make it onto this list because it's becoming more and more popular every day. But I thought I'd still include it on this list just for those people who are still behind on that curve. Now, let's jump straight off this roof and into number 6, Physician. Physician is an intellect perk with 4 ranks, maxing out at intellect 9. Rank 1 is quite arguably its most worthwhile, requiring 3 intellect. It improves healing from medicine by a significant 25%, whilst also unlocking chemistry station, first aid bandages and plaster casts. By the final rank, you'll be able to heal a huge 75% more from medicine, gain 100% more XP from using medical items, and it also unlocks first aid kits, steroids, fort bites, recog and antibiotics. On top of all that, it allows you to craft things at a chemistry station 40% faster. Even if you have all the recipes and schematics, Physician's healing and crafting bonuses are more than enough to be extremely powerful, and in my experience a lot of players don't even know this perk exists. In fairness, the Physician skill is surrounded by some of the best perks in the game, like Daring Adventurer, Better Barter, Grease Monkey and Robotics Inventor, so it is quite easy to overlook when in that company. Anyway, before all these drugs wear off, let's pop into number 5, Lucky Looter. Now, I'm sure someone will say that this perk isn't worth it because it's inefficient in the early game, and to that I would just point out that there is more to the game than the early game. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. What does the Lucky Looter perk actually do? Well, with 5 ranks requiring 7 points of perception, Lucky Looter will increase your loot game stage by 25% and increase your looting speed by 80%. I've done a video on loot game stage before. The short version, however, is pretty simple. In 7 Days to Die, you have a game stage that is your player level plus days survived times 1.2, which affects the zombies that spawn. Loot game stage is based on this number. Increasing your loot game stage by 25% will allow you to find 25% better loot than you currently would be able to without the perk. This effect is mostly useless in the early game because 1, you won't have a high enough game stage for a 25% boost to do anything, and 2, you won't have enough perk points to waste on Lucky Looter. Rank 5, even with all that said, Lucky Looter is still a good perk and is severely underrated. Don't ignore the ability to find late game items in the mid game. Additionally, loot game stage affects the level of weapons, armor and tools you get. Higher level items means more valuable items and more mod slots. And more mod slots allow you to cram unwanted mods onto unwanted pieces of gear to increase the price and sell it off for more dukes and XP. Lucky Looter gets you better equipment and it also makes the trading meta even stronger. It's just good business. While I'm on the topic of perks that people keep writing paragraphs in my comments section about, let's move on to number 4, Penetrator. First of all, yes, it works, and so does armor piercing ammo. Penetrator has 4 ranks requiring 8 points in perception. At the final rank, you'll have 35% armor penetration. However, the main appeal is not the armor penetration, it's the target penetration. The last level will allow the hunting rifle, the marksman rifle, or if you're playing in Alpha 20, the lever action rifle, and the sniper rifle to penetrate up to 4 enemies when using armor piercing rounds. This effect lets you hit 5 targets with 1 bullet with any of the Deadeye governed weapons, and is perfect for any sniper builds who use long walkways on their horde bases, essentially multiplying your damage per shot by 5. It also allows you to shoot through a block of up to 1000 health with armor piercing rounds. Anyway, let's blast through to number 3, Run and Gun. Run and Gun is an agility perk with 3 ranks requiring 7 agility. The final rank will increase your hip-fire accuracy by 25% and completely remove the movement penalty from reloading. The hip-fire bonus is a big help for shotguns, machine guns and pistols, because you'll definitely save time by not aiming down sights with this perk. I know some people prefer aiming down sights. You don't need to, for the most part. It doesn't improve the accuracy that much anyway, with a few obvious exceptions like the sniper rifles. Even if you do prefer ADSing, removal of the reloading penalty is a nice boost to have. While Run and Gun certainly isn't going to be at the top of anybody's priorities, it does pair well with almost any gun build, and it would be a shame to let people continue sleeping on it. Another perk people really sleep on, however, is number 2, Iron Gut. The Iron Gut perk has 5 ranks, requiring 10 fortitude. Now let's just get the boring effects out of the way. This skill reduces the likelihood of getting dysentery by 5% and sets breathing time to 180 seconds underwater. Dysentery is an effect that does next to nothing and rarely occurs, and you only need to be underwater when you're trying to cross a river in a vehicle. And this game is so janky that all you need to do is keep your camera above the water and it won't register that you are underwater. Yes, that is the level of jank we're dealing with here. However, the other effects of Iron Gut should not be ignored. 25% less food and water consumption is a real time saver, and helps to mitigate the effects of things like healing factor. But the 50% extended consumable duration is the real star of the show here. It will save you massively on rarer consumables like fort bites, skull crushers and rock breakers, not to mention extending the lifespan of things like beer and mega crush, letting you keep fighting and running that much longer. This was the basis of my most recent video on making an unkillable brawler build. The link to that video will be in the description and comments if you're interested. And before we move on to number 1, this is just a quick reminder to hit that like button if you've learned anything from this video, and of course to consider subscribing if this is the kind of content you like. I make lists like these at least once a month, with other tutorials and news content. Anyway, let's get into what I would say is probably the most underrated perk in the game. The Flurry of Blows perk comes in at number 1. What does it do? Well, the Flurry of Blows perk is a 3 rank perk requiring 7 agility. It increases your attack speed with clubs, brawling weapons, batons and knives by 25%, and it restores 30 stamina on kill. Yep, that's right, it's the Sexual Tyrannosaurus of the agility tree. Now I'd still say that Sexual Tyrannosaurus is slightly better because it also reduces the stamina cost of power attacks by 50%, but most melee builds, except for spears and sledgehammers, which are two-handed weapons of course, are at least 25% better with the Flurry of Blows skill. The real magic happens here when you combine it with the Sexual Tyrannosaurus perk. These combined let you fight much longer with 60 stamina restoration on kill. It is worth noting that this is going to be less useful for club builds in the late game, as with all 7 ranks of the Batter Up skill book, you'll restore your full stamina bar with power attack kills anyway. That said, a 25% increase in attack speed is still essentially a 25% increase in DPS, so it's still very worth it in my opinion. It really does make a difference if you want to make knives, stun batons and brawling much more effective. Speaking of brawling, if you'd like to see that video where I go over how to make brawlers unkillable, you'll see it popping up on the right here. Alternatively, why not check out the 7 things you should use more in 7 Days to Die video. Also, thank you to my channel supporters Violet Plague, Elidate, the many talented Mr. Jefferson, Karen Bray and Grassy Gaming. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.